The Big Ten preview train keeps chugging along down the tracks. Today, Wisconsin. There was a lot to be happy about in 2021 if you're a Badger fan. And I do know a lot of Badger fans because I grew up an hour north of Madison, Wisconsin. You had the number one defense in the country, and you probably had one of the best young running backs in the nation. The Wisconsin offense and its nucleus, some might say it's mitochondria, because just like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, the running game will be the powerhouse of the Wisconsin offense in 2022. Last season, we saw Braelon Allen showcase an elite combination of power and speed. Have we seen a combination of the two since the likes of Ron Dayne? Well, that's up for you to discuss in the comments, but what I know is that Braelon Allen is one of the best young running backs in all of college football, and he's going to prove it yet again this season. Now, we all talk about Braelon Allen and what he was able to do in a fantastic freshman campaign. Chez Mellusi missed the last 4 games of the season and still rushed for 815 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Braelon Allen's the number 1 guy, and Chez Mellusi is the number 2 guy. But that doesn't mean Chez is just going to be pushed to the side. With Bobby Ingram coming in as offensive coordinator, you got to think him and Paul Chryst are going to put their heads together to try to get Chez Mellusi and Braelon Allen on the field at the same time to make that offense a little bit more dynamic. This is going to be one of the best running back tandems in the Big Ten. I got to do a video on that in the future before the season starts. There's a whole hell of a lot of great 1-2 punches at running back in the Big Ten Conference. Chez and Braelon might be right at the top. It's going to be dangerous no matter who's on the field. You're going to have a really good rushing attack, and that's where Wisconsin is going to lean on, because Graham Mertz must be protected from himself. That offensive line is going to have to do a really good job, because we know Graham Mertz has been prone to turn the football over. Last season, 10 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And the last thing you want is more pressure in his face, forcing more mistakes than he already makes on his own. Wisconsin is going to lean on the running game because they have to. I almost think you want to keep the ball out of the hands of Graham Mertz. I know that sounds bad, and I know it sounds weird, but it's almost true. Graham Mertz has not proven to me that he can take the ball and make plays without turning it over. I've seen flashes of brilliance, I've seen great drives, but I haven't seen it over a multiple game period. In order for Graham Mertz to have a good season, you gotta have guys that are gonna get open. The top 3 receivers from last year's team, Jake Ferguson, Danny Davis, Kendrick Pryor, all out of Madison. Chimere Dike is the top receiver coming back. Some people say he's poised to have a breakout, but you look at his numbers, just over 200 yards and a touchdown last season. It doesn't pop out. His talent's pretty good, and I think he can step up and be a solid number 1 option. He's not going to be close to the best receiver in the Big Ten, I'll tell you that much. Outside of Chimere Dike, it's concerning. Let's start first with Quiantes Lewis. Some people within the Badger circles that are a little bit excited about transfer from UCLA. He was a 3-star out of high school. He was a number 57 wide receiver in his class. He played 11 games for UCLA last season, 0 catches. So for him to come in and be a number 2 option, we just haven't seen it. All we have to really go off of is his high school tape and his high school recruiting analysis. Marcus Allen and Skylar Bell, both 3-star guys out of high school. These aren't going to be game-breaking wide receivers. We just need some balance. We just need a threat every now and then. My big concern, if the running game is bottled up, like Minnesota did in Minneapolis on that November night, last game of the season last year, if the running game can't get going, are there enough playmakers on the outside? Is Graham Mertz good enough to push the ball down the field and create plays by himself and create a balanced offense? One other thing that I scratched my head a little bit over was the hiring of Bobby Ingram as offensive coordinator. This is a guy that's coached wide receivers and tight ends in the NFL. Since 2011, he has never coached at the college level. One head-scratching move there, but I love what they did at the offensive line. Bringing Bob Bostad over to the other side of the ball. He was the inside linebackers coach. Now he's back as offensive line coach. He was the O-line coach from 2008 to 2011. Coached a lot of great Badger offensive linemen during his time. And switching him to the other side of the ball may develop these guys faster in the interior for Wisconsin. All right, let's switch over to defense. This was a damn good defense last year. This was number one in the country for a lot of the season. Jim Leonhard is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the nation. But, and there's always a but, you're replacing 8 starters on that defense. You're replacing Leo Chanel, a second-team All-American. You're replacing Jack Sanborn, a first-team All-Big Ten player. That linebacking core last year was insanity, and it led that defense. That defense created turnovers, and man, good luck running on that defense a year ago. It was insanely difficult to get past that wall. Who are the main guys that come back on this defense? Of course, Nick Herbig, one of the best edge rushers in the country. I'd probably put him top 5, top 10 edge rusher in the nation. We know how important an edge rusher is into building a great defense. Nick Herbig actually led Wisconsin in sacks. On the defensive line, I expect it to be anchored by Keanu Benton. He had 5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. And in the secondary, I love John Torchio coming back. 3 interceptions in 2021, played really good against the run. He plays a lot bigger than his size. He's a tough guy that can come up in run support. And I love what they did in the transfer portal with Jay Shaw, a 4-star transfer from UCLA, 5 interceptions combined the last 2 seasons. This is still going to be a solid defense. This is still going to be one of the best defenses in the Big Ten Conference. They didn't draw the easiest crossover schedule. They got to go on the road to Michigan State. They got to go on the road to Ohio State. They've got road games in the division against Iowa and Nebraska. It wouldn't surprise me to see Wisconsin end up with a 7-5 or 8-4 record. This team has the potential to be really, really good, but this team also has the potential for maybe the defense doesn't gel together. It's not at the level it was last year. The weapons on the outside don't develop, and they don't really have a big-time playmaker that Graham Mertz can go to. Maybe the offensive line doesn't gel. There's a lot of questions I have about Wisconsin. I think their ceiling is very high with double-digit wins. I look at the competition, and I look at what they have in the Big Ten West. There's 5 teams that could realistically win that division. Wisconsin's one of them, but it's not going to be easy for Wisconsin. Be prepared, Badger fans, for a lot of close games. What do you guys think? Do you think Wisconsin's going to get double-digit wins? Go to the Big Ten championship game? It's been a little bit since they've been to Indy, since 2019. Is that going to happen, or is Wisconsin going to continue to take those steps down? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, Badger fans and other fans as well. We love that rivalry banter back and forth. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted for more Big Ten football previews and Big Ten football content. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we'll see you in the next one.